Hi, I'm Jamie, and I want to talk a little bit about why non vaccinating parents should not face legal repercussions. I want to start by pointing out that this is not a discussion on whether parents should vaccinate or not, in my opinion. I personally believe in vaccinations and the benefits associated with them, but rather, I feel like this is a discussion about the legal stance that it's not justified for the government to pressure or legislate these decisions for parents. Some things that open up this discussion include defining legal repercussions, thinking about who gets to decide what's best for the child, and implications that has on parental rights. Before we begin this discussion, this is something that's important to consider. Legal repercussions is a very broad term. What does it look like? Do we remove the parent from the home and leave the child alone as a consequence, or do we remove the child from the parents who may very well be providing adequate care in every other sense? Or do we apply pressure and strain by taxing those parents, which is not likely to change their behavior, but only to cause further financial hardship? With further examination, this really becomes a complex term. Thinking about taxation being the answer, many of the people in my research I found who are objecting or not vaccinating their children are rich white families in America who, in my opinion, probably would not be swayed or moved away from not vaccinating simply by having a fee or a taxation applied. So, digging in, this is the question that I want to consider today. When is it right to remove rights? This area seems to get muddy really fast. In my research, I realized that it's important in this debate to remember that whether you agree with their choices or not, parents who are not vaccinating their children are humans too. They love their children, and more often than not, they're not aiming to hurt the children of people who don't agree with their choices. And as humans, they're entitled to human rights. So I want to explore that a little bit further. Starting with religious freedom, before we explore the legal implications of this violation, it's important to note that religious hesitations people have. Religion-based objections include reasons such as the existence of pork-derived substances, alarming those who believe that pork is unclean, and those who object to the tissue of aborted fetuses being in the vaccine. Though I don't personally identify with these objections or beliefs, I can see how the government plowing past those beliefs is not beneficial to our liberty. The very thing that motivated the start of our nation was the freedom of religion, and if that's the beliefs that those people have, I personally feel that the government should honor that. As noted here, exemptions are currently in place for those who apply for them, but the turnaround time on the part of the government is slow, and the process is reportedly tedious. So the age-old question remains of science versus religion, and I feel like that'll remain at the heart of this debate. So moving on, another issue that raises concern in this debate is the line of privacy and whether this type of legislation is breaching that line on the part of the government. Self-determination has long been considered a human right, and I believe the decision a parent makes in relation to the care and health of their child should fall within the realm of that protected space. The HIPAA Act was put in place to protect the medical information of each individual. By broadcasting the information surrounding vaccinations, there's a high likelihood that the rights that the HIPAA Act protects will be violated. And part of being a parent is choosing what you feel is right and best for your child. I feel like there are better ways of fixing the situation that don't include violating parental rights. And these other possible solutions include education and increasing medical research and publication. Another major reason reported as a source of vaccination hesitation is the risk posed to your child. Not every child who receives a vaccination will experience the negative side effects, but it's openly reported that results vary widely between children. This is the premise many children use to influence their decision. Many parents who resist vaccination know that they have a child who's more susceptible to these potential side effects. When some individuals lose their freedom, we all lose our freedom. By increasing the government's involvement in parenting and medical decisions, we're limiting the government and free speech within that realm also. So who is to say that the government will always be trustworthy? What if we put this legislation in place and then somewhere along the line decisions are made that are not in line with the majority's interests? What will we do then? It will serve us well to respect the rights and privilege of the minority and thus protect the future rights of the majority as well. So just recapping really quick, we talked about preserving religious freedom, maintaining a privacy boundary, and limiting the input of government in parenting as three main reasons why parents who are not vaccinating their children should not face legal repercussions. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and I hope that this is informative and helpful in your decision on this ethical debate.